All right, so our next step is we need to put on our double wire lock pieces, doodad thingamajigs. And that is these guys right here. So it's got a double little groove in here, and that's what the wire lock goes into. And so these just kind of go right on top. We got a little bit of a lip here from where our ground anchors connect into our arches. And this, as far as I can tell from our instructions that aren't exactly the best, this just kind of goes right on top like this. And then for the end one, we put a couple screws in there. And then for all the middle ones, there's another bracket that comes on from the other side that we screw into for that as well. And then one screw from this into our post. So I know I shouldn't say this, but it seems like it should be fairly straightforward to put these things on. All right, so show of hands. When I said that this was going to be easy putting this on here, how many of you said to yourselves, oh Josh, you shouldn't have said that? So here's the deal. If my bows were spaced perfectly at 4 feet, which obviously I did that, there's no variance there. So if you get them spaced perfectly at 4 feet, and if our double wire lock track stuff was exactly at 12 feet length, which it's not quite, it's a little bit oversized, this would work perfectly fine to do it like this. The problem is that if your bows aren't perfectly at 4 feet and your track isn't there, then when you try meeting up the ends of your track on a bow, it doesn't work very well because it starts getting off center. And then when you go to connect them together with our little clamp, it just doesn't work. So I started doing a little thinking on it, and the best solution I could come up with would be to cut one of the wire lock sections in half. That would give us two 6-foot sections, which would put our joints in the middle in between two different bow sections. And then what I would do is take a plate and put it behind there to screw it in to hold them together, and then that would get them both perfectly on the same plane and they would match up real well. But just to check, I called up the place that manufactures these and asked him about it, and he said, oh yeah, that's exactly what you need to do for this. So it might have been nice if they'd had that in the instructions. They didn't, but that's what we need to do. Now, as it just so happens, I actually have some 3-inch wide plate, a long 5-foot piece of that. So we're gonna cut that into a bunch of little 3-inch long by 3-inch wide sections. We need, I think, 16 of those, so we'll get those cut and ready to go. And then we'll have to start taking some of this stuff that we put up off of here and get one of them cut to length and kind of redo some stuff. Alright, so now that I got all of my plates cut, we can get back to trying to get all of our double wire lock track stuff put up. First thing we need to do is, this is our first one that we put up here, we need to cut this one right where I marked it there, so that'll give us two 6-foot pieces, and then we'll take this piece off, we'll take the next 12-foot section that I put up, take that off, and then we'll bring that one down, join it up here. We'll take one of our plates, put it in back here, put our screws in there, and then we can continue on down with our 12-foot sections, and then put our 6-foot section that we're going to have cut off from here down at the far end. once we got that figured out on how that all was going together there and how to connect the ends, that actually went pretty smoothly once I finally got started. So one tool that came in really handy for putting the wiggle wire track and screwing it onto these straps that go around the ground anchors is this set of vice grips right here. And the reason for that is that there's nothing holding this strap right here to the ground anchor. So when I'm trying to put a screw from this side through the wiggle wire track and into the strap, if I didn't have something to hold this and this together, this just kind of pushes away and it doesn't work very well. But with this set of vice grips here, they actually fit right inside the track, and I could clamp those together and then just screw right onto here. These would hold the two parts together. It went a whole lot easier. Alrighty, so we got all of our track put up through here, wiggle wire, wire lock, whatever it is you want to call it. All that's up on both sides. So the last thing we're going to be working on for today is putting our wind braces on. And all that is it's just more of this same tubing that we've used for the purlins. It's also going to be what our sidewalls roll up around. Just kind of a multi-purpose sort of thing here. And that is just going to be connected up here in this corner like that. And then it'll angle down to the baseboard and it'll connect in there. And then I think there's a bracket that connects on each one of our ground anchors that it passes by as well. That just gives a little bit more rigidity to the high tunnel and braces a little bit better. So they're making this look easier than this is really going to be. So on their image here, they're showing that the strap that connects our wind brace to our ground anchor, they're showing that that is nice and parallel with the ground anchor. But the only ones of these straps that we have left are exactly the size for this pipe, which means that once this goes on here, that's going to be at an angle, so that's going to make it a little bit trickier getting those self-tapping screws to want to go into our pipe. Since we aren't hitting square onto it, we're kind of hitting on the side of it. We'll see how good a self-tapping screws these are, I guess. I don't know about this. I guess so. It'd be nice if we had the next size bigger one of these. I guess the kind that we had on the our ground anchors that connected our baseboard to these. That would be kind of nice to have instead of this, so that way we had a little bit of wiggle room on there. We could have them going straight, kind of like they show in their picture, instead of having to angle them like this. I guess it'll work. I should probably use wood screws for this. We're gonna see if we can't use these guys. Oh, beautiful. I think that'll work. Alrighty, well that does it for the wind braces. I think our next step is to start putting in the end walls, getting those framed in. If you were really observant, you may have noticed the trailer in the background was loaded up with a whole bunch of lumber. I picked up a whole bunch of treated stuff earlier today, so that I hope is all ready to go. I did my best to try figuring out what I was going to need, so hopefully we don't have to make another trip down to the store to get up more stuff. But anywho, that is going to do it for this time. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.